This meeting is being recorded.
Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Hey everybody. All right, so I think I'm getting this figured out today. So both YouTube and Zoom is gonna work for us. Hey, we're all learning. It's okay. We're gonna have some mistakes. All right. Hey Sheila. Ooh, didn't mean to yell that. Hey Sheila, can you hear? Can you see me okay? Everything good? Excellent. Thanks, Sheila. All right, so let me make sure YouTube looks like it's up and going. It is public. We are live on YouTube. I've got the screen. I'm just going to test the screen real quick just to see if I can share it. Boom. YouTube, do your thing. All right, there you go. I think it works. Beautiful. YouTube works. All right, I got it figured out. Sorry about yesterday, everybody. Thanks, Sheila. All right, so as people start trickling in, get situated, get ready. We've got about 25, 30 people in here so far. I know just based on the number of signups, we've got, we'll probably get close to 100 today. So I'm gonna wait a little bit just for folks. As you guys know, I know it's 5:30 Pacific time, but some folks are putting their kids to bed. Some people are just wrapping up dinner, and some people are just getting home situated. So I wanna make sure that people can get their snacks or maybe their dinner so they can watch. Like I said, most of the fun is towards the end during the Q&A, but obviously I want to give you guys some good, nice, clean value in the actual training time, the training session. So I've got my drink here. I won't eat on mic. All right. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Sheila. Man, I need more viewers like you to help me out with this. It's hard for me because obviously I have two screens, but I can only see so much, and I can't see what you see on your side. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I see you, Sheila, on that side. If you can see my secondary screen on YouTube, then that means it's gonna work. If not, I'm sure somebody will say something. Hi, everybody. As you guys are trickling in, just get yourself situated. We're just waiting on a couple folks. I usually get started right around 5:35, 5:36, 5:37 to allow people to start coming in before I actually start everything. So come on in, say hi in the chat, where you're from, introduce yourselves. I may already know you, so say hi. Oh, you're a techie? Okay. Yeah, you can see several of me because of my, I'm running two programs. So I got the Zoom webinar, obviously, and then I have something called OBS, which is this platform that allows me to live stream. And it has multiple screens of me up, so it shows what I can transition into, if that makes sense. That was a weird sentence, but I hope that makes sense. Hey, Dane. Hey, Rita. How are you two doing? Hey, Christopher. Ryan, what's going on? Howdy, howdy. Oh, it's so nice. Ooh, Pooja. Ooh, I'm not. Pooja? Pooja? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I feel really guilty about mispronouncing people's name. There are no recordings for these live sessions, these live webinars during the week. It's going to be just basically you show up and you are part of it or you're not. So I'm trying to get people in it to be active. I totally understand if you can't because of work and such. Don't worry, I'm going to release videos in the future on these topics, but I want to give everybody a little bit of a taste of what's going to actually be inside the program that we're going to be doing in August. And so this is kind of one of the bullet points, and we'll touch more on that a little bit, but this is one of the bullet points inside the program or inside the section itself. Sean, William, what's going on? Pooyah. All right. I like your name, Pooyah. Booyah. All right, Ben, what's going on, Ben? Ohio. Ooh, I like Ohio. You guys have a really cool, I think it's the state park out there that I am very interested in. Hey, Curtis. Mike L. Bucks in 6. Wisconsin. Hey, Jared. Ben. Oh, yeah, Hocking Hills. That's right, Hocking Hills. Woo, that is a cool area. I definitely want to go to Hocking Hills. Hey, everybody over at YouTube. What's up, Ben Franks? YouTube, I fixed the screen. I'm not sure why on... Oh, my bad. I am sorry, YouTube. I already messed it up. There you go. I just transitioned back for you guys, YouTube. You guys were seeing multiple faces of me. Sheila, now I understand what you're trying to tell me. Sorry, totally spaced. There you are. Ben Franks, that's right. You're in Asheville. I like Asheville. I like Asheville a lot. Yeah. Sorry, Sheila. My fault. I misunderstood you. You were right. All right, so 5:35. Let's see. We've got some more people trickling in here. Okay, we'll get started. We'll give one more minute. We've got about 70 people in here right now. 60, 70 people in total. Good deal. And hey, John, Pennsylvania. I have not been to Pennsylvania yet. I've not been to Long Island either. I need to go check that out. Are there good places out there in Pennsylvania, John? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, we are getting everything situated here. Buffalo, New York, what's up? Okay, so today we are going to be doing something on the next, the next part of the webinar series for this week. Enrollment week is going to be the fastest and cheapest way to get land. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because we talk a lot of stuff, techniques, theories, principles, all this stuff a lot in the YouTube channel. And then obviously, Rob, Bill, we all talk about different ideas and concepts, but it doesn't often come into play, or not usually, because deals in real estate and such, it's not like it just can't go out and do it, right? It's not like something that we can just do immediately. But with that said, one of the techniques that I talk a lot about, that Rob talks about too, I'm actually in the process of doing it right now. Like literally had a phone call this morning, going over the details, and I'll share that news with you here in a little bit, exactly what we're going through, but how basically I and others are finding properties that we can get into for very, very little money or no money at all. Now, if you were part of yesterday's webinar where we talked about batch leads and how to find properties that are unlisted, which is a brilliant way of finding properties. I mean, I literally, when I was driving, if you saw my Instagram, I was just driving back home from the gym. I got a phone call from somebody who found me through a similar lead site like Batch Leads, and they were offering to buy one of my properties in downtown. Same exact thing. So it's a very common thing, but it's usually used for wholesalers and it's not used for our needs. But anyways, it's a great way to do what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. So let's hope that this works. What's up, Jake? I grew up in Beaverton. Serge, Oakland, California. Justin, I am on Zoom. So if you go to anybody on YouTube, if you don't like YouTube, it's way more clear. I don't know, maybe not. There is a large lag time on YouTube, but if you go to my website, kaiandrew.com, and you click on that very top link, it'll automatically pull you over to Zoom. And you can interact with me there. You can ask all your questions and do all that good stuff there too. Okay, so I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. Doop. Right here. And then I'm gonna go over to YouTube, share my screen there, and you're going to see a bunch of pictures of me, or images of me, and then, boom. All right. So when this screen is up, I cannot see anything. I can't see the chat window. I can't see any of it. I'm going to assume that the audio and the video is going, but if something's off, something's weird, please, it's probably going to be on the YouTube side. Just go to my website, kaiandrew.com, click on the webinar link, and jump over to Zoom, and you should be able to see everything just fine. Hopefully the audio and the video didn't cut out or anything. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Let me just fix my monitor here. Okay. So today, fastest and cheapest way to get land. So I'm going to go through, obviously, the next 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, depending how deep we get or how long I ramble. We're going to do the training on this concept and then what I'm doing and how this can apply to you. And then also I'm going to give you a quick little intro into, not intro, I guess, but I'm going to talk a little bit about my program, the beginning, also what the special is today. And then at the very end, I'm going to wrap that up for anybody who's still thinking or still new to understanding what's happening with the enrollment in the program. I'm going to give a little more details. Everybody else who's been here, you can pause or you can kind of go get, refresher, get some snacks or something at that time. And then jump back in because we're going to do a large Q&A. So if you guys have questions, we'll dive right into that, which is the most fun. Okay, so obviously yesterday we talked about a new way to search for land, which is batch leads. It's basically how we search the entire United States. Sorry, rest of the world. I don't have that app yet, or I don't have the program yet. And how we can reach out to owners and to properties that are not listed on the MLS, and how we can set up deals, and we basically are cold calling folks. Today, we're taking the next level of how do we use something like that and a couple of other techniques of how to get cheap land. Then obviously tomorrow, Wednesday, we're talking about rentals, whether to start small or go big right away. And when is one more advantageous than the other. Thursday, fastest way to make $100,000 with property. And then Friday is how to manage things remotely, which is the last day of enrollment. And so to tell you the truth, today, actually, let me back up real quick because I had this question. I do not know why there's that box around there. But this is not the program. So I had this, it was actually my fault. So I had a couple of folks email me saying that they were really enjoying the program or that had questions about how to access the recordings of it. This is not the program. I'm flattered for you to think that this is part of the program, but this is not. These are all bullet points from the bigger sections inside the program. So inside the program itself, we're going to go a lot deeper, get into the nuances and the details and the nitty gritty of stuff and actually prove things out and how this applies to you. This is more of a surface level, 30,000 foot level of what's inside the program. So just want to make sure that's crystal clear. It's not your fault for anybody who got confused. It's probably 100% my fault for not being super clear with that in my emails. So I apologize. Okay, exclusive deal today is Web 75 off. So yesterday we had $125 off, today $75 off. This is the last day to get any type of discount on the program. And then we have 5 more signups. Our good friend Ken took the last spot earlier this morning from yesterday when we had 5 seats. So the first 5 signups for today, these are the last 5 seats for a one-on-one consultation with me. Basically the rest of the week, the last 3 days for the enrollment. There will no longer be consultations. I am completely booked. All 60 minutes, all 45 minutes, all 25 minutes are completely taken. And then this is the last discount, which is $75 off of the program. So if you guys want it, jump on in. If you guys want to stick around to the end, I'll give you way more details of what the program is going to entail. But you guys can chat about it inside the window or just go over to my website and then you can get more details on it. All right. I do not know why there's this box around all of the text, so I apologize for that. But, whoops, let me go back real quick. Okay, so the method that I'm talking about today when you're trying to find land and try to close things quickly is called a lease and hack, okay? We talk a lot about property hacking, land hacking, house hacking. We've heard that before. This is lease and hack. I know we're kind of abusing the term hack. But the reason why it's so fast and it's so inexpensive is because we're not having to gear up all of our W-2s, get all of our assets in order, and then let the banks do a pre-qualification assessment and do all this stuff, and which can take several days to even weeks, and then get approved, and then search for property, and then you have to go through closing, and then appraisals, all that stuff, right? You guys know the process. Lease and hack, you literally can close immediately. So to give you an idea, I got the phone call. There's a video that's gonna come out, but more about details. Got a phone call from a friend about a property. Went and saw the property, I think that weekend. So called me like on a Wednesday or Thursday. Went out there that weekend. Basically, thumbs up, had some issues at first, figured it all out, and then in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been in the midst of negotiating the finer points of the contract before we actually sign on it. All of that took place, literally the decision was made within 48 to 72 hours. It was really, really quick. And the great thing behind it is that there was no money out of pocket. So with no money out of pocket, it gives you some things, right? Repeat after me. You guys know this already. First rule of entrepreneurship or business, never run out of cash. And so whenever you can hold on to cash, especially in a time like right now when interest rates are super low and there's plenty of money inside the economy, if we can hold on to our cash or borrow or use somebody else's money, it's super ideal because it gives us a very large cushion, room or margin of error. And it also allows us to be a lot more flexible with what we want to do. So instead of just maybe opening one small tiny site for $8,000, we might be able to do a nice bigger site for $15,000, or we might be able to prep another part of the field, which I'll share this with you guys in the video, to make it a better experience, and then to create those barriers of entry, and then to be more unique and more different than everybody else in the area. So lease and hack. So what I am getting into is a 267 acre wedding venue. Okay, so this is a really cool piece of property, and it's primed in the way that I want to say it's lucky, but it's also a lot of times of just setting it up and the fact that I understand the area. It's in a county that I know. And then also it's already got the permits pulled. So it's got the right zoning and it's already got the conditional use permit pulled. And you can assume, or you can already think of, wedding venues are typically A plus, I can't speak today, I'm sorry, A plus spots in terms of amenities, views, manicured lawns, all that good stuff. And so that's what I'm going into contract with. Now, how do we find it? How do we find properties like that? Typically, we're going to be using something like this, Batch Leads. I talked about this yesterday. And what you can do is, this is obviously just a photo of it, but you can go down, whether you use this, you use Google Maps, you use Zillow, whatever you want to do. LoopNet, LandWatch is another good one. Is whenever you find something, and even these ones right here, just for this example, these I believe are not listed. So these are unlisted properties. And when you find something, you can do something called a skip trace. A skip trace is, which is done through the app too, is when you find out where the owner of that property actually lives, including their telephone number, email address sometimes, but always their actual permanent address. So you can send them mailers, and then you can send them text messages, and you can even call them, which I received literally probably 30, 45 minutes ago on the way home. So this is a great way to assess and find properties. Now, when we're doing this, there's a couple ways of looking for things. We're typically looking for, remember my zoning video, we're always talking about understanding what zoning districts we want to be looking for. We don't want to just go out there and look for any piece of land that like, oh, that looks cool, and then you find out it's zoned residential 1, right? Or residential 10 or something like that. Residential is usually not what we want to be interested in or buying at all, okay? So typically what we're looking for ahead of time is we're looking at wedding venues, event venues, campgrounds, RV parks, anywhere that has the amenities, the views, or inside, especially inside that golden triangle. And basically we're trying to take advantage of the infrastructure, the permits, and the draw that the location already has, okay? So everything I'm talking about right now is obviously just one strategy or technique of acquiring property or acquiring land, especially for folks out there who have limited funds. Now, when you do this, it allows you to take advantage of somebody else's asset. I shouldn't say take advantage because you're going to build a win-win, and we'll talk about that more here in a second too. But you're taking advantage of somebody else's property, and they might be specializing. In my case, it's more of a farmer in a wedding venue where the family there is specialized in that. We specialize in building out sites and producing higher rates of cash flows or income streams. And so you can partner up with these type of folks or these venues, and you can create a win-win scenario. So for an example, in this case, in this photo here, it's an RV park. There's no campgrounds, there's no glam sites, there's nothing like that. And typically these RV parks are usually, not always, but usually are stationed somewhere near a national park, a mountain, some sort of major attraction, right? Where people are coming through. Now there are RV parks that are kind of in the middle of nowhere just for people to kind of like rest and stay, but you don't want to be going to those. But when you can find something like this, that already has the bathroom, the septic system, they already have the permits, and all you have to do in there is negotiate or work with the landowner, the site owner, the small business owner, whomever it is, to set up a deal where you can create maybe a couple of yurts, some A-frame cabins, anything, container homes if you guys want to do that route, dome homes, anything like that, on another type or another piece of the property or another corner of the property away from the RV areas, but still be able to tap into the utilities and the infrastructure at that site, okay? Now, how do we find these? So obviously I just shared one with you, which is Batch Leads. There's a bunch of others. Just because I say Batch Leads, don't feel like you have to use it. Batch Leads, if you guys do want to use it, use Kai as a promo code or go to batchleads.io/Kai, and then you can get up to 50% off your first month for any subscription model. And then also you have the choice of choosing a 7-day free trial. But there's a bunch of other lead generators out there that you can use. By no means am I tied to Batch Leads right now. But there's other ways of doing it too. You can use something like Craigslist. Very, very popular. I have done this in the past, and we've actually done this trying to find a place to put a tiny house before. And we've been actually fairly successful at finding properties and land. Just other opportunities came up and we decided not to pursue that. Nextdoor, it's an app if you guys are familiar with that. For most of the folks in the United States, they're familiar with Nextdoor. Even Facebook, or you can even do paid ads if you have the funds. But I'd rather just do targeted searches through Batch Leads and then send direct mailers instead of trying to cast a wide blanket over, Google or YouTube videos or Facebook or Instagram ads. Now, when we're doing this, it's like going back to my previous point, we're just doing one aspect of the not greater good, but the bigger plan, right? So because we got to remember, there's still several other stages that we have to go through. And that doesn't stop us from having to do the identifying, the research, the navigation, structures, build out, and then protection. We still have to do all of that. This is just another option so we don't have to put up a significant amount of money up front in order to start something that's much more, what do you want to call it? A lot more involved, like raw land and putting in infrastructure and utilities and cutting down trees and pulling major permits and such. It's nice to be able to just tap into somebody else. Okay, so you still want to go through this blueprint before you settle on any piece of land. Please, and I've seen people do this, is even if you find an owner who's willing and agreeing to work with you, don't get drawn into bad deals just because it's your first deal or it's the first deal that you see. Okay? A lot of people get wide-eyed, bushy-tailed because they get a deal and they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this, or this is great. And then I look over the deal and I realize it's bad zoning, it's bad permits, the land's not that great, it falls way outside of any type of golden triangle. But just because they've been striking out for the last 2-3 months and they finally find a deal, they want to kind of grab onto it, right? Just be careful of being in that situation because it's not ideal for you to, even if you can acquire a piece of land with zero money down, it's not worth anything or you can't really do anything if it fundamentally doesn't make sense when we look at the blueprint here. So lease and hack is only a solution to acquisition. It's not the whole solution to everything else. Okay, so why is this ideal? Because first, you don't have to put down 20 to 50% down payment, right? Usually for raw land, it's 40 to 50% if you can get it. If you go buy any other type of property that has a structure on it, a dwelling structure that's appraisable, you're going to be putting down about 20% if it's an investment property. If it's a second home or a primary home, you're looking anywhere between 5 to 10%, maybe 15%, but that's not that popular. But also, like I said already multiple times, is the infrastructure, taxes, and amenities are already in place. And so for us, how we're doing it, the farmer is paying for basically everything. Including the taxes. The only thing that we have to do is our side of the insurance. We even have the farmer taking care of the insurance on his side because it's still his property. And this last thing, I don't know why I put it in there like this, but you get to keep your cash, okay? Keeping your cash is ideal. And this is the reason why this deal came across my table and I decided to take it on because I get to keep my cash. And I can really partake in the upside without a lot of the risk of the downside because we're sharing that with the farmer or the landowner. And the reason why we can do this and why no money is out of pocket is because we're doing a revenue split. Now, if anybody knows who this is, if you guys watch Shark Tank, this is Kevin O'Leary, and he always comes up with deals that if you're not familiar with it, it doesn't favor the entrepreneur. If you guys know what Shark Tank is, it's basically a bunch of entrepreneurs, small businesses pitch an idea to a group of multi-hundred millionaires or billionaires, and they either invest in the project or the business or not. And they come up with deals. And Kevin O'Leary's deal that he always loves to do are royalties, right? Where he takes a small percentage of revenue, okay, right off the top. I hate that in terms of revenue, or in terms of an entrepreneur, because when somebody takes money off the top, that means you still have to pay whatever's left over. You have to pay all expenses and all taxes. And so you don't ever want to do, ideally, not a revenue split, but ideally you do a profit split. So you pay everything off first, and then you do a profit split, okay? Now, in this scenario, paying a royalty or paying a percentage of your profits, or even you could do revenues if you get the right percentage, it is ideal for you, because what it does is that you share the profits, or you pay money only when you make money. But when you don't make money, you don't have to pay. So it's a great way. Basically, we are getting into 267 acres with riverfront property, a pond, a 4 to 5 acre pond, acres of land that we can build on, view of the mountain. I don't know if it's a sunset. I don't think it's a sunset view, but there's a view of the mountain and a gorgeous pond, gorgeous farm. And it's on the other side of where the wedding is, but we still have access to all the utilities and amenities for $0, because we came to an agreement. I have to give a lot of credit to my business partner and my friends who helped me set it up and negotiate the contract, is that we set it up in a manner where the farmer is completely happy, because he's going to do very little work once we get it up and going, and he's going to get a fixed percentage of what we make. And then we get to walk away with the rest of it, right? The lion's share of it. Now, the fantastic thing is when you set this up correctly and you're a professional and you have the experience, you get farmers, you get partners in this situation where they will actually do some work, especially with farmers like this. And when you find land, when there's somebody that living on site, like a farmer or a rancher or whomever, is that they usually have heavy equipment, tractors, whatever, backhoes, that type of stuff that can help you put stuff in. And that's exactly what we have set up in this deal, where it's literally $0 out of our pocket, and the farmer's helping us run in power, put in the driveway, a turnaround, flatten out the area, clear it out for us to put our pads and our sites in. So it's a fantastic thing. By the way, keep on throwing stuff in the Q&A, and I'll answer that as soon as we wrap this up. So, I was a little bit ahead of my schedule here. So the reason why it's such a great scenario for us, for when, even if you have a lot of money and capital and you have the experience, and for folks who don't have that yet, if you can get a deal like this, is because you're sharing the risk with the landowner, okay? You only pay when you make money, and you don't pay anything when you don't make money. Now, obviously, if you don't make money for long enough, the landowner or the farmer is gonna be like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm not gonna let you just stay here and build and use my property and you not make money. So there could be clauses inside your contract on the farmer side, if they're really savvy, like performance clauses, and if they can break it if you don't perform. So remember, that's one thing to keep an eye out for too. But like I said, in my case, or in our case, we're getting access to land, utilities, amenities, trails. There's already bike trails, walking trails, horse trails to the river. There's a view, pond, and a lot more. Now, there's a couple drawbacks to this. So it's great. It's a great asset inside your portfolio. It's a great way to start out if you're just really beginning with not a lot of money. But one of the things that I love about real estate that is very, very apparent by now is equity. Equity is one of the best things about real estate that you build over time, and it's true passive. I guess it's not passive income because you can't use it right away, but it's pretty dang close. Like I said, with my properties, you gotta think about it. For every property I acquire every single year, I'm making $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 every single year on average, just from the appreciation of the property itself. You don't get that when you do a lease and hack. Who gets that? The farmer does. Now, so this is a pure cash flow play. It's an experience play. So you get to build your experience, and do not shortchange experience. Experience is huge. Just because you get into a small little dinky deal now, it will build your experience and give you the confidence to do something a medium size and then a large size. But not only that, but it builds out your portfolio so you can go to a next person and say like, yeah, I've done this before, and then you can get that next deal. So don't think that a deal, kind of like a hint, spoiler alert for tomorrow, don't think that a deal is too small and too unattractive, because that experience can lead into something way bigger. It's the story of my life. So you also want to be very careful to be able to get, or very careful about the contract that you get into. I don't care how little money you think you have, find money to hire a good land lawyer, real estate lawyer, or contract lawyer. And you want to make sure you go over the terms of the contract so it's favorable, ideally, towards you, but really you want to set up a win-win scenario with the right clauses in place, and a good lawyer can help set that up for you. So, because you can think about it, if you don't perform and you need to get out of that contract and you don't have a good exit clause, now you're stuck inside this contract for a certain amount of time if you're not doing a revenue split, but you're doing a lease, like a leasing model. So you pay a certain percentage, or a certain percentage, but you're paying a certain amount of money per acre per month, right? So typically it's like $400 or $500 an acre, depending on how good the land is. If you lease out 20 acres, what is that? Let me do some rough math here. 20 acres, is that $10,000 a month? And you want to cancel it after month 12, but it's a 3-year contract, you're still on the hook for 2 more years at $10,000 a month. That can bankrupt you, right? So you want to make sure that you have it set up in a way where it's a win-win. So if things don't pan out for you, you can still kind of buy your way out of that contract. So it's not going to hurt as much as, what is that, $240,000, $250,000 that you still need to pay, if that makes sense. And the last thing too is that you have to be really good at working with individuals and with people. I can't emphasize this enough. You want to be able to learn how to build strong relationships and keep people happy, even when they're not nice, they're not professional, they're not polite to you. Okay, I'm talking about this with real estate agents, landowners, homeowners, the county, representatives, lawyers, anybody like that typically are not known to be the nicest type of folks. But if you can build a good rapport with them and relationship with them, you can win so many deals and get so many things passed through. And I've told you guys this before too, is that a lot of the stuff that my permits, that stuff that I get pushed through, and why I'm so excited about this piece of property is because I know the county and they know me. I've done a lot of deals with them and a lot of projects with them. And like even with this project, the shipping container project that's on my video right now, or on my channel right now, I wasn't supposed to get permits on that because I missed something with, long story short, trusses with we changed the trusses for the rooftop and everything. And we had to go through another reiteration of engineering and getting the right stuff through. But because they know me, they're like, hey, we're gonna push this through, make sure you get that to us, scan it, and bring it back to us. And it saved me about 2 to 4 weeks of just waiting around to get things fixed up and approved. So when you build those relationships, it gives you a lot of advantages. And same thing in here, where my business partners, my friends, they built a great rapport with the landowner, and they were able to negotiate some great terms in our favor. Don't get me wrong, it's a win-win scenario. He's gonna make good money too. But in terms of overall, they did an awesome job of negotiating this and making sure it's a win-win all around, and it really favors us to come in there with no money. All right. And the last thing with the contract, just make sure you have a good exit strategy. Whether that's you're hyper successful or it fails midway through, just make sure there's an exit strategy for both of those. Okay, so for us personally, like I said in the beginning, we have been focusing on this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We're probably gonna be signing within the next week or 2 here as we get things finalized with our lawyers and having both sides agree to it, and then setting up the right entities and everything. Because remember, LLCs, all that stuff, insurance policies, we wanna make sure that's all set up first before we sign on the dotted line. And so we have to get that done. All right. I don't want to get into this yet because I do want to spend some time. I know we're at about 20 minutes right now. I want to go back real quick. So one thing that's really important that I want to make sure that everybody in here understands. How many of you are in here? Can I see? No, I can't see. Okay, there's still 60. There's 70 of you in here on Zoom. That's good. Is the soft skills, okay? So anybody who's still here watching this, the soft skills when it comes to these type of deals, especially leasing hacks or any type of negotiation where you're using somebody else's asset, you wanna build the soft skills of sales, and going back to what I said is building rapport. I cannot emphasize that enough, okay? It arguably has made me hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, just from those soft skills of learning how to talk to people, how to be professional, because when I approach, like if I'm going to be working with a deal with you, you are more likely to want to work with me than the other 15 people who approached you because of how I speak to you or how I treat you with respect or how well I can close on a deal or paint a picture for you on why you would want to work with me or my business partners rather than somebody else. And so in that sense, another skill set that you can learn and focus on and build if you're going through the program with me in August or if you're doing it on your own is work on your soft skills of building rapport and learning to be polite and working professionally with people who are not polite and not professional to you, okay? Because at the end of the day, we both want something. And I am going to get it if I'm more professional, more polite, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, last thing here. So, Land Hacker program, this whole thing is I've done the exact same thing. Everything that I am basically teaching you guys this week for free through these little 20, 30-minute webinars is through my Land Hacker program and my blueprint here. Now, we're going to dive a lot deeper into it so we can do both the sides of doing the lease and hack and then where you generate way more equity and cash flows and potential is when you actually acquire properties and you hack it. And that's when you can really replace your day job, your income, with one property if you find the right one. And that's why it's so important. So we'll be going through this in August. Again, anybody who signs up now, let me see how many seats are left. We still have 4 seats left. So if anybody wants to sign up, it's a 6-week live program. And basically we're going to be going through live classes with me, going through that platform, or going through going through the blueprint of the land hacker, of how to become a land hacker and understand how to find the right pieces of property, how to do the market analysis. And my favorite part is the MBA level of running the numbers. The running the numbers, I can't emphasize this enough. I know I echo myself a lot, but it's really the game changer when it comes into analyzing and assessing deals. I've done it. It's something that we do not just in properties or how we do it with land hacking. We do it with multi-million, $100 million deals. And it applies to deals as small as for a couple $100,000. And it's one of the best ways to kind of give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down on a deal. That by itself, said it before, it's worth the cost of an admission enrollment. I paid over $80,000 to learn that from my MBA school or my MBA grad program, and then Harvard, Stanford charges $150,000 to $200,000. And you're gonna learn it. And then also you're gonna learn about what I've learned in the past ever since the launch of Airbnb since 2008 till now is how to design and build a strong 6-figure Airbnb listing. Go through and how to create the management, the systems, the logistics of remote management, all the way to how do you manage it yourself to make sure that you get that 5-star review. And again, echoing myself, everything now revolves around the 5-star review. If you don't understand that at this point by now, you're going to lose out on Airbnb and you're going to lose out in the short-term rental market. Because going forward, remember, again, the start line began when Airbnb went public, okay? Everything revolves around that 5-star review. And we'll really emphasize and focus on that in the mini program that we'll be doing. That's actually going to be in September. So, okay, so some other stuff. I won't go through too much detail of this because most of you have probably heard about this. If you're new to this, you're going to get a bunch of extra bonuses in this live program because in the future programs, it's all going to be probably pre-recorded. It's going to be more quote-unquote polished because I will put in like sound effects, transitions, and everything like that. But in this live, it's just like this. As soon as I turn off this screen and I can see your chat, I'm going to start interacting with you. We're going to have weekly group coaching calls. We're going to have weekly office hours where we can interact. You can ask your questions. We can go through the topics that you're confused about or I didn't quite make sense to you. And then on top of that, I can already tell you there are dozens of very intelligent, sharp, hungry minds and individuals signed up for the program. And these are the types of people that you want to be calling your colleagues, your peers, your classmates and acquaintances. Whether they're located in Costa Rica, or they're located in New York or Oregon or California, these folks, they know something that you don't know, or they have certain contacts, or they have certain experiences, knowledge, or skills that you may not know. And I've found out that inside the classroom, whether it was my graduate program, my undergraduate program, or any type of classroom or training that I've gone on afterwards, it's usually just as equally important to know who your peers are because they can really help you and advance you as well. And so you're going to get full access to obviously the private Discord community, which is just going to be this group or this cohort of individuals. And like I said, it is literally dozens of very quick-witted, hungry entrepreneurs and investors. And then obviously you're going to get access to all my PDFs, spreadsheets, guides, the slides, all that stuff. So you can take notes, you can go back and review it. And then of course you're gonna get full lifetime access to all of the recordings. So you can go back and watch any of them at any point in time that you want. And you get full access to anything else in the future. So if there's, if I do updates or I do another live program and I charge $10,000 for it, when we have a full blown out, like maybe 8-week course or something that has way more videos and content in it, you get to attend that for free. So last thing is the batch leads, which we'll get a full training on from an expert on training us how to use it in one of our group coaching sessions. Okay, so the last thing again is, so use this promo code WEB75 off. I'll put this in the chat window. You'll get an extra 75. This is the last day for any type of discount. I mean, the program is already priced significantly lower than it actually should be worth too. It should be worth probably between $7,500, maybe up to $10,000, especially with the all the extra coaching, the one-on-one coaching and consulting. And today is gonna be the last day for the last 5 slots for the 25-minute strategy consultations. Like I said in the beginning, for anybody who just stumbled in, all the 60 minutes, all the 45 minutes, and then these are the last 5 25-minute consultation slots that are going to be open. So if you're interested in it, I'd highly recommend that you snatch it up, because after this, I physically can't. It's so many. I want to work with all of you, and I do, but it's just time-wise and energy-wise, I can't do it that much, okay? So I have to limit that. So that's that. If you have any questions, I'm going to turn the screen off so I can see your chat window, and hopefully it's not a bunch of people screaming at me because they couldn't see anything. All right, so let me just get this back. Whoops. And then stop share. Okay. So here's the link and the code. Whoa, YouTube is blowing up. We've got a ton of people in YouTube. What's up, everybody? All right, I'm just going to get this in here, and then, excuse me. Okay. So what questions do we have? Again, what I just went over, very, very high level of how I set up the deal, what the deal looks like, and if you guys have any questions about what we're doing, I can't say everything that we're going to be doing, so I'm going to try to keep it as general as possible, just because we're still in negotiations, and that I obviously don't want to blow up the spot yet. But let's dive into it. So let's start with we'll start with YouTube now. If you guys have questions on YouTube, I'll start with questions here, and then we'll jump over to Zoom, and we'll just keep on jumping back and forth. And if you guys can, over in Zoom, put your questions in the Q&A. I'll go through that because it's nice and easy for me to kind of sort through it and then see it and then dismiss it as I answer them. All right, so YouTube. All right, what's up here from San Francisco? Question: what other app are you streaming on, Justin? Okay, those are old ones. World Citizen. Okay, hey, what's going on? What's up, Todd? Grilling chicken, Kyle. Nice. All right, Tran, what's up, Tran? Andreas and Chelsea. Thanks for the link. Okay. What's the best way to plan? All right, Jake asked, what's the best way to plan a new build site for multiple units? Jake, that's a great question. So you're going to be wanting to build something called a master plan or master site plan. And I'm assuming this is what you're asking. If I'm not answering your question, please interject me and just redirect me. But essentially, you want to plan everything out, right? So I'm assuming if you have raw land, you want to figure out where utilities are, where the walkways are, where the driveway's going, where the future driveway's going. You want to build it out as if it's completely finished, top notch. You had unlimited funds. Because why you want to do that is because as you expand in the future, if you come into a lot of cash flows, you're hyper successful, you come into more money, and you want to expand, you don't want to mess yourself up like I'm talking about myself here and a lot of other professionals in the space, where you put a septic system in the wrong place, or you put a road where you should have put more sites, or you put a parking area over where it would have been an awesome tree house or something like that, okay? So you want to have everything planned out, and you cut it down into phases, right? Phases that both time-wise and money-wise that you can afford. And then you can start chunking it out. And so you do small chunks at a time as you build it out. And as you create more momentum and you build more money, obviously the chunks get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's how a lot of entrepreneurs, it's how developers work, not commercial developers, but folks like us. And so that's how I recommend it. Have a big master plan, making sure that you have everything planned out. And then obviously, and part of that is taking advantage of certain features. If you have a pond, if you have views, you have anything like that, like a great picnic area, you want to incorporate that into that plan. Okay. Jabal, I'm about to buy some land in Costilla County, Colorado. If I want to use it for glamping, what do I need to check for? A lot. You need to check it for a lot. First of all, Colorado is probably the least friendly short-term rental state in the United States. There might be California might be a close second, but Colorado is definitely up there. So double check your regulations around short-term rentals, and then the zoning districts, and then the permits, and then go through and watch my videos. But those are probably the first, not probably, but those are the first things that you definitely want to check into. Start to finish timeline goals for projects. How long is too long before you miss the boat? Serge, that's a good question. I literally can, because I have building experience and I have a couple of my students who are builders. They're entrepreneurs as well. We can build a platform and put up a safari tent literally in a Saturday and maybe a half of a Sunday. We can build up the deck. We can do everything. If you hire it out, depending on how fast your crew is, you're looking at maybe a week or two. Okay. If you do something a little bit more elaborate, a little bit bigger, you're just talking about maybe a couple weeks to several weeks, maybe even a few months. But the sites itself is not the big issue. Usually the bigger issues, the time constraints, is usually around permits, zoning, and then the infrastructure. And so you got to plan for that accordingly. And so every single property is so different, because if you can find a well in your first run and it's only 50 feet down, that's very different than if I had to dig like here, I think it's like a 1,200 foot well or deep well. And we had to figure it out, like we had to dig 2 or 3 times before we hit it. So it's all dependent on your property. I know that's not the right answer, or not the answer that you want, but you're not going to miss it, right? And I'm not going to get into it here. I've talked about it a lot in my videos. We definitely will talk a lot more about it inside the program, but I talk about how you create up barriers of entry and how you set yourself up so you don't have to worry about this wave or this trend coming and going, right? A lot of people, they tend to do that. Honestly, no offense to most of the folks out there, I say 80% of entrepreneurs and Airbnb hosts, they're part of that 80%. They're just in it to make quick money. The problem with that, though, is that you will come and go with the tide. Whereas people that are trying to be in the top tier, the top 5, top 10, top 15%, we're going to stay around, because it's going to be very hard to displace us, even when you have major players coming into the field that have heavy hitting or have VC money or very deep pockets. So I'll talk way more about that, because it's a way longer conversation, but I wouldn't be too concerned about missing the wave. If you do average or below average stuff, be careful, because you'll get pushed out very, very quickly. All right. Caleb Richards, what's going on? What are your tips for finding a good draftsman? So finding a good draftsman is just Google reviews, talking to architectural firms. So remember, there are 2 types of draftsmen. There are draftsmen or designers who've gone and got their architectural degree, and they're going through the process of getting their architectural license. It requires a certain amount of studying, they have to take a test, and a certain number of hours, okay? There's also draftsmen and designers who did not go to architectural school. They might have gone to drafting school. And so there's 2 different levels here. So you just have to make sure that you analyze and see who you're hiring, who you're bringing on. They'll both be between, I guess, a draftsman or drafter that doesn't have an architectural degree. They'll probably be less expensive. They'll be less expensive. They'll probably be around the $35 to $50 range. Draftsmen who are designers who've actually gone through school probably be in the $50 to $75 range, maybe $100 if they're awesome. But Google it. Go talk to some architectural firms. There's actual design firms out there too, maybe around your city. Worst case scenario, it's not a worst case scenario. It's actually really good. I want to do it for a YouTube channel. Tell me what you guys think. But go to like Upwork, Freelancer, even Fiverr, and find somebody with a really good portfolio, and you can work with them. Okay? You just want to make sure that they understand the laws and the regulations of the zoning of your state. Okay, so there are some draftsmen that cover several states. Some of them specialize in just one, but check it out. You'll have access to literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of folks. Okay, who should design the site plan? Site plan, Jake, sketch it out yourself first. Go look online, see what it generally consists of. You can even go in the zoning district, or not zoning district, sorry, zoning code book, and you'll see what a site plan looks like. And they will tell you what the setbacks will be, how far away buildings have to be, how far away from the property line you have to be pulled back from. And then you just sketch it out yourself. I sketched mine all out on this guy right here. And then you can hand that off to a draftsman, and they will sketch it up, or an architect if you want to pay that money, and they will build out the site plan for you. But yeah, it's usually a site plan. If you're buying acreage, large acreage, I should say this before too, is that you will have to work with a surveyor to understand where your property lines are, because some property lines aren't perfectly square, especially if you're buying like several acres. I'd say probably 2+ acres, especially acreages when we're starting about 20, 30, 40, 50. You will probably most definitely need to get a surveyor out there to draw out where your property line is, and then the draftsman or the drafter, designer, architect will then build a site plan off of that. Okay. Civil engineer, nope, not civil engineer. Civil engineer is more for roadways and bridges and stuff like that. Landscape architect, that's going to be more for your landscaping. I mean, I guess you could. I don't know if landscape architect would do that. No, go find a draftsman or designer. Okay. Thanks so much for your time. Of course, Caleb. Of course, I figured it was my case, but didn't know if you had it. All right. So, it just told me that my chat just disconnected on YouTube. You guys can let me know if that's reconnected. I think it is, because okay, audio lab just came on. Okay, what's up? All right, let's jump over to Zoom. All right, I'm looking off to my left because it's my Zoom windows over here. I'll just move this right on over here. So, all right, Q&A time in Zoom. All right, let's just work our way down here. Where's my Q&A window? There it is. Hey, Katie. Do you have any good companies to use to shop for prefab container homes? Yes, check out SI Containers and, gosh, I almost forget their name. Alternative Living Spaces, I believe. If that's not the right exact words, type in Alternative Living Spaces Containers in Google, and it should be the first one that pops up. All right. Hey, Gil. How's it going? I just did a GLAMP course. I'm still working on the materials given. To be honest, your course looks more interesting to me, but I've already dropped 2 G's on that course. That was Rob's course. Yeah. So I kind of feel like I should digest. And okay, but I literally want to do your course. I've not watched a lot of your YouTube videos. Do you think if I watch all your YouTubes, I will get a lot of the course material that way? Yes and no. So Gil, I totally understand the situation that you're in. Rob, I know he has a lot of stuff, but Rob was very, very focused. His course was very good. I had access to it too on the glamping side. My side is more on the equity side, right? So you kind of playing multiple sides of the field. I don't know if that's a saying, but you get what I'm saying. But with that all said, to answer your question, yes and no. My YouTube videos, I try to boil down the nuggets and the essential parts of each point, but my program is going to be so much deeper because, like, if you think about my YouTube videos, I'm cutting it up to be about 8 to 10 minutes long. And in here, or my program, we're doing an 1.5 to 2 hour classes where we can discuss things like this. And I can show you exactly why I negotiated my contract this way, or why I found this piece of property, or how we're looking at the Golden Triangle. Like I think I have like literally a 45-minute session just on the Golden Triangle, right? I think that was like a 10-minute video covering everything in the YouTube. So I think that YouTube is a great place for a lot of people to start for the free content and point you in the right direction. But it's not going to be a substitute for like a live program where you have dozens of other classmates who have great backgrounds that you can interact with, and obviously you have me there teaching it to you, and then you can ask your questions. So, but I understand where you're at, where you're coming from, Gil. If you want to join, yeah, it's enrollment ends this Friday. And in the future, though, when you're in a better position financially, maybe you can join the future classes. Cedar Catano. When talking about the Golden Triangle, how large of a city population should be searching around? Great question. The bigger, the better. The more populous it is. But that's just a general rule of thumb. What we're really looking for is a populous area where we can get laborers, supplies, and your cleaning crew. Okay, those are the three biggest things that you really need to do. Obviously, clearly, we want bigger cities like an Austin, a Chicago, or like an Orlando or something where we can draw in customers because people are flying into those cities, of course, right? That's a no-brainer. But the bigger thing is that you need supplies, you need lumber, you need metals, you need laborers, and you 100% need your cleaning crew. I can't emphasize this enough. Again, when I echo myself, I'm just really trying to emphasize something. Your cleaning crew is the cornerstone of your business. Okay, you are important. Don't get me wrong. You are important. You're the entrepreneur. Right below you or right next to you is your cleaning crew. Okay, and so if you can't find that because you're around too many small cities or you have so many sparse cities that there's not enough actual cleaning bodies around you, what you have to do then is you're then actually hiring an employee. And that just opens up a whole nother can of worms that for beginning entrepreneurs and beginning hosts, it's just way more difficult to have an actual employee working for you and then going through payroll and the taxes and all that stuff. So with that said, I like to find cities at least around bare minimum 75,000, 100,000 in population. But really what I'm doing is I'm searching for cleaning crews and I'm looking for Home Depots, Lowe's, lumber yards, metal yards, steel yards, that type of stuff, because that's stuff that I know I need to build out my place. Good question. All right, Alexander. I do not believe that your full name is the same name. What's a good percentage for profit split to share with the landowner? It depends. That's one of the things I can't share right now because we're still in negotiation. We're going to get that set up, but it can be anywhere from 5% to 50%, depending on what the landowner wants to do or how involved they are. I mean, it could even go all the way over. If the numbers still make sense, it could be weighted in favor of the landowner. So it's how you negotiate it. So in our case, to be a little bit more transparent, is that our landowner does not want to be involved with it once we have everything set up. So that way, in that manner, we get a lion's share of the profits or the split because we're going to be doing all the work after we get everything set up. Now, in some cases, like I know I can speak for Rob, or I shouldn't speak for Rob, but I know in Rob's situation where he does 50-50 splits because he has a landowner on site that acts as the co-host, okay? So it's all over the board. It depends on what you negotiate here. You just got to run the numbers, right? What I said, running the numbers is so critical because it can tell you how high you can afford, right? So for this site, if we ran it, these are made up numbers. These aren't actual numbers. Once we ran the numbers, we're like, okay, we can afford to give this landowner up to 45%. We can still make a good profit. We go up to 45%, but we're going to start off at X percent. All right, so that gives us room to negotiate. Now, if the farmer comes back and is like, I absolutely need 60%, we'll just walk away from the deal because we already ran the numbers and we know that 45% is the highest that we're willing to go. So hopefully that makes sense. Ryan Hinderman, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. How do you prevent the landowner from ending the contract and replicating your business model after they find out how much you're making from the relatively inexpensive tent or A-frame? You might invest a lot into the money in the sites, creating the infrastructure backup plan if that happens. Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the fears, right? That's one of the soft skills that you need to learn to, and you'll get this as you guys go and do more sales, communicate with more folks. It's just like anything else, riding a bike, right? You've got to get out there, learn it, and then you start to read people. I've been able to learn how to read people to a point where I know who is kind of not scammy, but just you can't trust them. If that makes sense. You know, when you just get that icky feeling, you're just like, I don't want to go in to deal with this guy or this person or this girl or whatever. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is having a rock solid contract. And so you have exit clauses or you have clauses in there where basically they can't push you off the property and you're the first line of, what's it called? First position. So basically, even if they sell the property, you still hold on to the lease. And the only way that they can break the lease is if you do something highly illegal or you do something that is like gross negligence or anything like that, that hurts the production or the income or something like that of the land itself or the farmer. So you just have to have a clear-cut exit strategy, both in the case where the farmer can get out of it and then you can get out of it, or the landowner, not the farmer. So in that case, what you can do is you can also set up that you get first right of refusal to basically renew the contract as long as you're performing. Now, this is something that the landowner has to agree to as well. The landowner may not agree to it. So that's something that you're going to have to consider based on what you're setting up. So in that case, though, you can set the contract so it automatically runs right into the next, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, however you have it set up, if you're hitting certain performance metrics. And you might be able to increase the profit share or increase the lease amount to sweeten the deal for the landowner. Backup plan, yep, as always, our backup plan is we're building all of our sites that they can be easily deconstructed. We can put them in the back of a single bed, but a long bed truck, like an F-150. So literally all the platforms, the A-frames that we'll be building, the dome tents, all that stuff that we're thinking about putting on the site, we can easily take them down and put them in the back of a truck and move it to another site, or worst case scenario, put in storage until we have another property that we can put them on or use them. Hopefully that helps. All right, hey Gil, I'm going to skip past you just a little bit because I want to get to these other folks, and then we'll jump back to you, okay, Gil? Anthony, what size land should one start with, lease and hack? This is a common question. I say usually minimum 2 acres, but it's going to be more about sight and sound. So don't be within eyesight of the road or neighbors, and don't be within earshot of definitely roads or neighbors. Oh, whoops, I just dismissed the wrong one. Hang on. All right, just answer that one. All right, Jamie Pico. Did I miss it? Go to Jamie, go in there and type in Kai into the promo code. And I believe that will give you the 7-day free trial. Let me know if that doesn't work. I've heard it hitting and missing. I get emails whenever one of you guys sign up for it, so I know people are getting it. But if you're having issues with it, let me know so I can contact them and figure it out. All right, I'm going to jump over here to YouTube for the questions. Don't worry, YouTube. I'm coming back to you. What was your code again? Dan, code for batch leads or for the program? Program is, I'll put it in here. Web 75 off. And for batch leads, it's Kai, K-A-I. Chelsea Davis, welcome. Hi, I don't know if I've met you yet, but hello. Have you found that you need permits for primitive sites like safari tents and compost toilets, outdoor shores, specifically near a lake? Yes, not always, okay? There's some really cool counties out there that are unrestricted and there's no zoning. In those cases, you still want to check and make sure there's no neighborhood or local ordinances. But in most cases, if you do find a zone or a county that has zoning districts in that area, they will typically require you to. A lot of this is because you probably will do it correctly. You'll get rid of the waste in the right manner. But there, like I said, that 70, 80% of the population might just chuck it into the lake, put it in a pile, and now you have human waste leaking it. You know what I mean? It's just, I've seen a lot of shady Airbnb hosts, and that I don't put that past them. And so that's why counties are so sensitive to this type of stuff now, is because they've seen a lot of illegal stuff. And the other side of it, where I can understand it too, is it's a fire and health hazard. If you, or risk, is that you have people in canvas tents, and a lot of people put wood stoves in there. I've had fires at my properties. Rob over at Rob Built has had fires in his cabins. I know for sure that canvas burns up like that. And if you have somebody sleeping there and they're on top of a wood deck or anything like that, you're talking about a real situation that can be very dangerous, especially in areas where there's a lot of trees, like where I am in the Pacific Northwest, where wildfires are like a real problem and a real issue. You can see why counties are really cracking down on it. So check with the county, double check. But even if they don't have they don't require permits, just be sure that you have a good way, clean way of getting rid of both garbage, human waste, and then also protecting the environment from fires. Because honestly, a lot of the fires that get started are usually just dummies who try to start the fire, but it's usually campgrounds. It's campers who don't put out the fire correctly. And so you just want to be careful with that. All right, Sheila, lease and hack, who pays for putting in the glam sites? So this can be a split between you and the landowner. It could be the landowner, or it could be you. In our situation, we're building it ourselves, so we are basically putting the labor in, and then we're paying for materials in our scenario. But depending on how you set up the lease or the contract, Some of the farmers will pay, or some of the, I keep saying farmer just because it's my deal, he's a farmer, but in some landowners will pay for it. All about how you negotiate it. Mike L, what's up? How do you handle when a county requires a property manager for a short-term rental? Ooh, I've never come across that. It's interesting. You have an owner occupied or live with a certain radius, or they require a property manager. You have to be an owner. Okay, I see. I have not come across, actually, no, I lied. I'm sorry. It's one of the reasons why I got rid of a lot of my properties in my areas, because they started requiring that you had to have a live-in person. So in that scenario, what you do is that you can put somebody long-term inside one of the fixed structures. So whether it's a house or an ADU or a guest house, okay? In my area, this might be different in your county. As long as you have a long-term lease, which is considered anything over 30 days, that person or that long-term tenant, long-term host will qualify. Now, it might have to be an owner occupation where like you are actually the owner that have to live there. Yeah, I mean, you have to do that, turn it into a lifestyle business, or sell and get out of that county. That's a horrible, it's not a horrible rule, but I understand what they're doing. But at the same time, if you don't want to live there, don't go find a different county. Or hire a property manager. I'm assuming this is a legit property manager that's licensed and has the proper insurance. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna suck. I'm just catching this light. Is my video looking okay? My light looks all kind of weird, but maybe it's just me or just the screen. Property managers will never take care of your property as well as you. They will get you poor reviews. I don't like them. I've not found a single good property manager when it comes to short-term rentals, and I've been in the game for 16 years. So Chelsea Davis. Chelsea already answered a question. I'm going to move just passages to other folks who haven't had their questions answered, and I'll jump back up to you. If you had to choose one, from Eric Mandetta, if you had to choose one, would you suggest land hacking in Florida or Tennessee, and why? I would say Tennessee, just because Florida is pretty condensed, and you've got, depending where you're at, you've got a lot of major cities, and those city boundaries kind of overlap and move into a lot of those areas. You don't have a ton of space. Tennessee has a lot more space, and then Tennessee also has the Smoky Mountains. John, what ROI do you look for? Honestly, John, I should do this more, right? As a business guy, I should be looking more at ROI. I don't look at ROI. I look more at either cap rate, or I look at just cash flows. So what's my initial investment? What's my cash flow? And then payback period. So you remember, payback is how long does it take for you to make your initial money back? And it's totally a personal preference. I know a lot of other folks that go off ROI. I think ROI and cap rate, it just looks sexy, and it's understood by a lot of people, both in business and outside of business. I care more about payback, because all I know is if I can get payback within 6 months, it's pure cash flow. It's pure profit after that, right? And I don't consider it I don't really care too much how much it is, as long as, actually I say that with a little tongue in cheek. That's not true. I do care how much it is. I just care a lot more about payback. And as long as it's producing good cash flows, I'm happy. Okay, Bill Wilkins, do you have any names of the banks that will do FHA 5 to 10% down payment loans, or if not, websites to find lending options? Thank you, I really appreciate what you're sharing. Bill, I do not have any name of the banks. I know that basically all major lenders have access to FHA, and it's actually as low as 3.5%. The only thing is that you have to get an FHA approved piece of property that falls in the qualifications, which typically large acreages don't fall into it. You should check into that, but from what I've seen, they don't. Best websites. Usually when it comes to lending options, I always recommend that you go and find at least a credit union, a major bank, think of like a Wells Fargo, Bank of America, a mortgage broker, and then at least one online bank like a Quicken Loans or like Rocket Mortgage or something like that. And then compare. And then make sure when you're comparing those mortgages and the pre-approval letters, make sure you compare apples to apples, because they will play with the numbers to make like one deal look better, but just make sure you lay out all the fees, you lay out the APR, you lay out your down payment, all closing costs, all that stuff, put in an Excel spreadsheet and go through it line item by line item, and make sure that you're not just, don't let them trick you, because they do try to trick you. Brent, what's up? What sources do you say we're looking for locating draftsmen's Fiverr? What was I say? Fiverr, Freelancer, and Upwork. And then obviously Google. Do Google first, but you can do those other ones too because you can actually look at their portfolios without even paying a dime. And then you can select someone based off of obviously reviews and their portfolio. Puya, Kai, on average, how much do utilities cost like well and septic? I got a quote for $200,000. No, it doesn't cost well, you got to give me a little bit more context. Are you like on the side of a cliff? And they have to drill like 2,000. So septic system's a standard sand septic system. You're talking about between $8,000 to $12,000. That might be different just because of where we're at right now in the economy. So say like $15,000 for a basic one. What I usually have to put in, or what I put in, is these. They're called Aramco. They're literally like a RoboCop septic system. Those are way more expensive. So they're usually between $25,000 to $50,000. Wells are usually, gosh, what was it per foot? It was, I forget what the price per foot is. It $3 a foot, maybe $250 a foot that they drill. But wells are usually like $15,000 to $25,000. So even if you go above, you double that. Let's say it's $50,000 for the well, and then $50,000 for the septic system. You're at $100,000, and that's a primo system. I don't understand why they quoted you $200,000 unless you're just working on some very hard terrain or something like that. Yeah, I'd say go get some more quotes or reassess that land. Niels, you got to tell me how I pronounce your name. I feel like I'm mispronouncing each time. Do you have an example of contracts to share? I know you're not a lawyer and you can't give legal advice. Yeah, I am not a lawyer and I cannot give legal advice and I cannot share my contracts. Sorry. I can give you ideas of what to do or how to do it. You can find samples of contracts online. But I don't think my business partners would want me to share how we set up contracts either. All right, Dan. Nice, Dan. Okay, cool. Sheila. Okay, Ari. Sorry, I'm not skipping over your questions, folks. It's just I'm trying to... lighting-wise, blown out. Okay. Sorry, hang on. I'm a little blown out. Hang on, I'm going to adjust my light just so I'm not so blown out. All right, let's turn that down. Maybe that'll be a little bit better. Okay, I'm gonna jump over to YouTube. Let me make sure I got everybody. Yeah, Puya, don't listen to the architect. You gotta go talk to a septic. Architect was way out of his way out of his level. I've never $200,000 for just septic and well is insane. Like literally, I'll give you a top of the line number for septic. Top of the line septic system right now is probably gonna be like, let's say that labor costs and everything, because everything's up in construction, is even $65,000, which is absolutely mind-blowing, okay? If you came back to me with a number at $65,000, I'm like, go find some other quotes. Go build like 3 basic sand systems instead of your super fancy one. A well, honestly, you can dig a well super deep for $30K. I just had a viewer, he dug a 1,000-foot well for $16,000, including the driveway out to that well to dig it. So I don't know where $200,000 coming from. That architect doesn't know what he's talking about. All right, Sean, let's say I find a 100-acre property. What's the first in figuring out whether I can set up a glamp site, hold weddings, build tree houses? Sean, same thing as I said before, zoning district permits. Zoning district permits, that's the hand of God. You got to learn how to read zoning permits or zoning districts. If you don't, hire a good zoning attorney or a land use attorney. Nice. Thanks, Sheila. Okay, I'm jumping back over to YouTube because I see the chat window blowing up over there. Let's see. By the way, let's see. We are down to... All right, we're down to... What is that? Two more seats. So if anybody wants to take advantage of my last 2 seats for a one-on-one consultation and the last discount of the week for the Land Hacker program in August, get the last 2. And remember, everybody, I have a 30-day, and I didn't make this super clear, I have a 30-day money-back promise. Any of my students know this, I've said this a million times, is that I back everything up that I say. If you don't get value from it, or you don't think it's helping you now or in the long run, I don't want to take your money, okay? And so I will give you back full money, no question. I might ask you like, hey, where did I mess up, or what did you think that wasn't valuable, just so I can improve myself, but I will give you back your money. And that 30-day is not starting from when you purchase it. It starts from when classes start. So we're not starting until the week of August 15th. So you can go through basically 4 weeks of the program. And if you're like, dude, this is not helping me at all, just let me know and I'll give you your money back. So to me, it's a win-win scenario where you can test it out and see. But I believe in this stuff so much because I've made millions off of it, and I'm continuing to make 6 figures, 5 figures a month off certain properties, and then multiple 6 figures each year off of it that I'm putting into a program. And like I said in the beginning, or yesterday, is that everything that I'm teaching inside the program is essentially what I would go back in time if I had a time machine, and I would give my younger version, or my younger self, the younger version of myself. Okay, so let's go over to YouTube here. All right. Questions. George, if you have a fair amount of cash on hand for starting a short-term rental, what's the best way to use the cash? Down payment on land, building materials, and researching Pacific Dome home builds. Cool. I love Pacific Home Domes. I purchased stuff from them. Rob is doing the same thing. Cash, hold on to cash. Right now, if you can hold on to that cash and secure a piece of property, do that. If you have to, then you have to. If you have to put a down payment, then you have to do that. But if you don't have to, don't do it. So in this situation, if I can get away with a 5% loan or a down payment instead of 20, guess what I'm putting down? I'm putting down only 5%. We're addicted to this thing. There's two sides of Americans, I'd say. Is we're either addicted to debt, credit cards, student loans, cars, houses, all that stuff, or we are hyper vigilant and allergic to debt. And there's a happy medium. And a lot of times my students, I tell them, I was like, hey, you need to fix your credit score. Go out there and go get a credit card. I have my credit card balance right now, I think it's like $27,000 or $28,000. I pay that off every single month though. I use it just like normal if I'm buying supplies. It's because I buy supplies for my building project. It's not because I'm a high baller or roller or anything like that. It's just lumber prices. But the point is that you pay it off. And so you want to hold on to cash. And so it's the same thing with mortgages and same thing with land loans. If you can get a land loan, is that if you can get away with a lower down payment, do that. Use that money if you have to, or just use a 0% interest rate credit card. Like Home Depot gives you 18 months, no interest, right? So get the Home Depot credit card, go and buy up all the lumber, all the metal, everything that you need, and then build out your site. I know you can't do it with Pacific Domes, but you get what I'm going at here, what I'm getting at. And pay it off over 18 months. So you keep that cash on hand as you build up your business. Again, business, the lifeline, the blood of a business is cash. So you don't want that cash leaving your hands. Okay, good question, George. Yes, the right of first refusal. Thank you. Miami, 83 full. All right, on stopping the landowner, let me go back up. The right of first refusal is what we're talking about when we're setting up. I think Sheila had asked the question about setting up the contract, or maybe it was Ryan, on how to protect yourself from a landowner just kind of canceling the contract. Or logic brings up a really good point too. See, this is why you shouldn't look at my contracts. A legal non-compete clause. That's one too. Okay. Logic on stopping the landowner from stealing your business after figuring out how much. Oh, okay. Yep. Sorry, Logic. I was reading your comment below and then I read your comment above. But yes, that is what it's called. Dome homes are the nicest to me. I agree. I like dome homes. I'm building one myself. I am Bobby Digital. The link, I'm assuming it is to the program. It's right there. Whoops. Sorry. Don't do that last part. Sorry, I'm just trying to type in. Link here. All right. There you go. Bobby Digital. I just typed it in. Oh no, they tripping. All right, let's say that. What's up? Checking whether I can set up a claim site. All right, same question. I have a property in Gatlinburg. Okay, deadly laugh. I have a property in Gatlinburg on 3.22 acres with a great view and privacy with a tree and a sunrise view. Nervous going in alone, so looking for someone to go in with me would also help with financing. Look at that. William Dealing. Deadly laugh. That's really, really cool. All right, Cena. Hi, Cena. What are the best weather domes, especially for humid snow weather? Pacific Domes or F Domes. I don't know F Domes. I've heard a lot of good things about them. I've done a little bit of research. This decided to buy a Pacific Dome, do not buy Chinese-made domes or domes coming from China, or people who are advertising domes and then they're sourcing it from China. They may look exactly the same. I promise you the material, the engineering is very different. Pacific Domes actually got everything engineered, so they will pass certain permit codes, build codes, sorry. So yeah, that's why I like Pacific Domes. Sean, thanks, Shane. Sienna, do you install filtration systems in your septic systems, and what kind? My septic system does have a filtration system. I think it has like 21 giant, like, you can basically, they say this, I would never do it. The sewer line coming straight out of the house, going into this little tank that's about maybe 10 feet long, 3 or 4 feet wide, and it has like 21 filters, and it has a pump in there. And they say that once it gets to the other end, you can drink it and not get sick. That's what they say. But that filtration system is the more expensive system. It's I forget what they call it. It's like the Advantech Orenco system. Very expensive. And also it's expensive to install because it requires a lot more. There's electronics in it. All right. What's up, Nathan? I'm selling my current house and going to have $30,000 to put down, but I will need a place to live too. Enough to start land hacking, or should I keep saving? Always keep saving, but if you have $30,000, you can find, I don't know what area you're in, because $30,000 is nothing in California, but that could be a lot if you're like in Alabama or something. But I would say if you can find a place to where you can do a lifestyle business, so you can do the land hacking and it's revolved around the lifestyle business. Remember, you guys, land hacking is not just with rentals. There are several ways to land hack, and we get into it way more in the program, but it's not just around rentals. So you can have multiple income streams. Cass has like, I forget how many, Cass has like 13 revenue streams off one property. That's not all from the rentals either. So just something to think about. All right. Deadly Laugh, yeah, you're always going to be nervous with your very first project, very first deal. And so I'd recommend that you start off smaller, build the experience if you're really nervous about it, or like what you're doing. You partner up with somebody who may have a little bit more experience, a little bit more funds that can back you up. All right, let's jump back over to Zoom here. Man, it's blowing up in YouTube right now. Where's everybody coming from YouTube? Maybe I just made a really cool thumbnail or something, huh? Is that why you guys clicked on the... I should have saved that thumbnail for my next video. That's what I should have done. All right, let me jump back into Zoom. All right, I'm gonna go back through the questions here. All right. So when you make Gil asks, when you make a comparison with what you said, you paid $80,000 for your MBA program to learn this, but didn't also learn a bunch of others. But didn't you also learn a bunch of? Yeah, of course. Of course, the MBA program was mine was an accelerated. What was it? 15-month program. Yeah, it was from May to June. So yeah, it was. What is that? Yeah, 14, 15-month program. Yeah, I learned a bunch of other stuff. And guess what? What do you think? The market analysis, the identifying, running the numbers, obviously, and doing all that stuff. So there's some other stuff in it, but that was my core because I focus on the finance side of stuff. The customer side, you guys are going to learn that too. But yeah, good question. My program was 15 months though. All right, when is the pre-recorded polished version going to be available? I don't know, you guys. I'm going to be focusing on this program here. It's going to take a ton of, basically all of August and September is dedicated to this cohort of students in the program. And so probably I would have to spend another couple months setting that up. So it probably won't be out till next spring, to be honest. Chelsea, who should help design the concept plan? Oh yeah, sorry, Chelsea. That would be a designer or draftsman. You can work, not a civil engineer. The landscape architect can help you with the landscaping, but it's going to be a designer or an architect. What's the best way to locate land for lease and contact? Brent, go check out. Oh, you can't check it out. It'd be basically Batch Leads. So go to batchleads.io/Kai. Sign up. Use my Kai Use Kai, Kai, as the promo code, and you can either get 50% off or a 7-day free trial, and then you can play around with that, and that's how you search for properties that are off listing. Or you can use, you can even just search out for folks on Craigslist and Facebook and Nextdoor, saying that you're looking for a particular piece of land. Jamie Pico. I thought I answered that already. There is a free week. Let me know if you're not finding that. All right, Sheila. All right, Ari, let's say I found another 100. I think we answered that already, right? Yeah, zoning, Ari. Sean, are you Ari? That's the same question. Maybe not. Yeah, go to zoning and permits first thing. All right, Brent, can a Pacific Dome be permanent as a permanent structure if placed on a foundation? Brent, it can, depending on your zone. You just have to follow local building codes. So building codes usually is around engineering. So it can adhere to wind tolerances. Earthquake is a big one, obviously. And it wants insulation value. And then obviously all the permits or all the codes for around plumbing, electrical, and then sewage or septic system in this case. So you can do it. It's possible. I've seen it done. It's just dependent on the county if they allow it, because it is going to be considered an alternative structure, and you're going to have to find ways of hitting certain building codes. Like insulation will be difficult because depending on your county, how do you determine what's a wall and what's the roof? And then obviously the floor will be easier to insulate, but usually walls are an R19 insulation value, whereas roofs are what, like R40, R38 or something like that. They keep changing, but it's almost double what the walls are. And so how do you meet that constraint when it comes to building code? But yes, it's doable. Chelsea, we are under contract on a 45-acre plot of land in Georgia. Ooh, nice. There's 7 acres lake plus a pond. We have a general inspector person with a drone to help us survey the land and have a survey of the boundaries. What else should we do during due diligence? We're in communication with the county already. That's awesome. Is it raw land? Is there property on it? Obviously, check for liens, check for easements, check for mineral and water rights. Okay, make sure if something's feeding that lake or feeding that pond, make sure that it's not on the stream or the creek or the river is not coming through somebody else's property, and they can basically cut it off, and they can basically use it for irrigation if you're around a lot of farms or something like that. But other than that, that's really cool. Yeah, I just say just check that. Check to see how many plots or lots there are in your parcel. Sometimes you can have several lots in there, and that's really, really nice. That's cool. Keep me posted on that, Chelsea. All right, I still think despite my predicament, I might still do your course now. Am I crazy? We're all a little bit crazy. Entrepreneurs are all a little bit crazy. Yeah, feel free. We'd love to have you jump in, Gil. And like I said, if you went through Rob's program and you don't find any benefit in mine, I honestly think that you definitely 100% will. But if you don't, like I said, there's a 30-day money back. So jump on in. We'd love to have you. Anonymous attendee. Is a county right outside of Orlando, Disney World, a good site location in Florida? Yeah, that'd be awesome. I just know that a lot of the counties around Orlando, they can be pretty restrictive. Okay? So just be careful with that, especially around Orlando. There's a house already? Okay, cool. Do the inspections on the house. Make sure you walk around the house. Obviously, start thinking through about if you're really going to be land hacking. 45 acres, you got some room. Just think through, understand where is the power coming in from? Where's the well at? Where's the pump house? Where's the septic system? And I always like to walk through and I try to visualize, and you can go on to Google Maps too, pull a bird's eye view, take it over to your iPad, sketch it out, and just think about ideally what would you want to do? Is there any way, the fastest way, spoiler alert, is to start refreshing, remodeling that house, the main structure. What can you do there? Can you expand it? Can you build off of it? Can you create more barns, shops, anything like that? Just think about that through. So I'd be looking into that. That's great that you have a house on there already, though. Spring-fed pond, and the lake is from a creek that comes from another lake, not used for ag or anything big. Excellent. Make sure that you have full mineral rights, or if you're okay with some of the owner. So here we have to worry about mineral rights. Mineral rights is trees, oil, gold, silver, anything in the ground, resources, and then also water rights. Make sure that you have full water rights and mineral rights, or if they're negotiating for, they're not selling those, okay? Imani Homes, you mentioned having a short-term rental in cities with at least 100,000 population. 100,000. The city I live in is way less, but in the golden, can I still be profitable? Let me do a better job reading that. Sometimes I skim over this. You mentioned having a short-term rental in cities with at least 100,000 population. The city I have land in is way less, but it's in the Golden Triangle. Can I still be profitable? Sorry. So if I wasn't clear, it's not having a short-term rental inside a city with 100,000 population. It's near a city with 100,000 or more. And you can if you're in a Golden Triangle, that means that you're connected to a populous city. Again, it all comes back to supply, laborers, and cleaning crew. That's what you need. If you want to be successful, you need those three in the long run. Or deep pockets to bring them out to you when you need them. Anonymous attendee. Is this the same person? Hi, Kai. Which is better? Buy a vacant land near a national park? Nice. Or a land with a very old house built in 1938 being sold as is near city? It depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to build equity and potentially cash flows, the old house. But again, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't like 1-to-1 ratios. I'm assuming it's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning one door, one property. I personally like vacant land over by the national park, but that's my level. That's my area of expertise, and that's what I'm good at. But if you're starting off and you want to get your feet wet, the safer or less risky route might be the old house near the city that you can revamp, put new electrical, new plumbing and everything, and then build some equity in it. All right. Brent Favor, would you say 38,000 is a good deal for a 0.3 acre plot land in Joshua Tree? It's 5 minutes from the park, 2 minutes. I would be paying. Sorry, I'm skimming again. Would you pay 38,000? Would you say 38,000 is a good deal for a 0.3 acre plot of land in Joshua Tree? It's 5 minutes from the park entrance and about 2 minutes from downtown Joshua Tree. I would be paying for this in cash and no loan. I don't know the area of Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree is a very, very hot market. I do not deal in super hot markets. It's where you get burnt. Get it? Pun. But with I also don't get it. So the only thing that you could do down there is, depending how it's zoned, is you could build a single family home. Everybody and their moms and their grandmothers are building houses in Joshua Tree right now because it's hot. Okay, and I blame you, Rob. No, Rob did a really good job. He made some good money there. And so everybody's doing the same thing. So if you want to follow that and you can build fast enough and you can get builders, good luck. If you can find a builder that can build something for you in a timely manner before this bubble slows down or the bubble pops, you could make money. But also know what you're getting into. Again, you're playing, I think, Brent, I told you this, it's a 1-to-1 play. So you're putting one door on one property. I don't like those. Okay, I've done a lot of those. I like it better when I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 incomes off of one property. That's a better use of my money. So if you want quick equity and you can find a builder and you can build something fast enough and take advantage of the market, go for it. But make sure you understand the zoning and what you can do, because again, Joshua Tree is starting to restrict a lot of stuff there. All right, Anonymous, what's in the Golden Triangle? Go check out my Golden Triangle video. It's on YouTube. You can't miss it. All right, that's the last of the Q&A here. I'm going to jump back over to, my goodness, it's already 7? Dude, you guys. And we still got 52 people. How many people do we have in Zoom? Oh my gosh, we still have well over 100 people. You guys are so awesome. Let me see. How many spots do we have left? Ooh, we are down to 1. I think we're down to 1 spot now, guys and gals. I don't know why all my emails aren't coming through. Never mind, I'm sorry. That's an old email. We still have 2 spots left. And folks who are in here right now, I don't know why you're emailing me. It's so funny. I can't read it obviously right now, but I can't read your emails. You're emailing me, but I can't read it. I'm live right now. So you can throw your questions inside chat window. I'll do my best to answer your question. So yeah, we still have 2 spots left. If you guys do want one-on-one consultation after the program, links are still in the chat window. All right, so let's go in here. I'm looking at YouTube. So happy to be here. I'm trying to learn how to get started. I've got about 80,000 to get a house. Good. And hoping to hack it into at least 2 ADUs. So Steve, awesome. Congrats on the 80,000. Remember, a lot of zones, a lot of counties, one standard that is very popular is that you can't have more than 1 ADU. Now, there's certain zones that will allow you, sorry, I'm getting confused. There's certain counties that will allow you to have an ADU, a guest house, or a junior guest house. But not likely to have two ADUs. There are even some properties or some districts that will allow you to build a single family dwelling unit and also a multi-family dwelling unit. So then in theory, you could build two ADUs, but it's really just a duplex that looks like two ADUs or two apartments. So just something to consider. Or, I'm not telling you to do this, you can build an ADU legitly, get it permitted, everything up to code, and then once it's after inspected, you can turn it into two separate units fully up to code in terms of, firewall, all that stuff. I'm not telling you to do that, but it's a possibility. Matthew, can you go over Golden Triangle, major city attractions? Makes sense. Can you touch on the hotspots? Yeah, Matthew, hotspots are basically, if you want more details, jump into my video on YouTube. Hotspots are basically you identify who your customers or who your guest is, okay? If you guys get anything from this, obviously from what I just taught you about the leasing hack, the standard of business, I just paid a consult. By the way, I pay to go to trainings and for consultations in areas that I'm not an expert in, like YouTube or doing live webinars and programs and stuff. So I just paid an expert a lot of money to work with me on my YouTube channel. The first thing that he emphasized is the same thing that they emphasized in my MBA program. It's focus on the customer. And the first thing that I always emphasize to my clients, and I tell all of you folks, is focus on the customer. I don't care if you have a deal on a piece of land. I don't care if you have this great idea for an A-frame. It doesn't matter if you don't know who your customer is, who your guest is. The only reason why folks like myself, Cass, and Rob are successful is because we know our customers. Not only do we know our customers, we are a part of that group of customers. And so we know them very, very well, and then we can build around them. So with that said, one whole area of the Golden Triangle is wrapped around your customer. So whether that customer is an outdoorsy, adventurous person who likes to go hike, bike, and then check out waterfalls, or go snowboarding, skiing, and surfing, or they want to go to golf courses and relax at vineyards or restaurants, whatever that is, that's the third part. That's the hot spot. Hopefully that makes sense. You guys are so silly. You guys keep sending me emails. Okay. Have you had any dealings with county permits requiring concealed driveways for fire service access? I'm not sure what you're talking about concealed driveways, like hidden driveways. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, absolutely. That's a big thing that I talked about, I think, yesterday, is that a lot of campgrounds, a lot of folks, they estimate that the fact that you do need to put in roads or certain driveways for emergency vehicles. Because like I said, if you have a campground with cabins or canvas tents and you put it tucked away in the woods 7 acres back in a fire, or somebody has a heart attack, how in the world is a firefighter going to get there if there's no driveway or any type of road that can support the weight of a full fire engine, right? So yes, absolutely, that's a big deal. Again, some unrestricted counties, you can get around it. But in most cases, yes, that's going to be a thing. That's where the fire marshal comes out and takes a look. Okay. Duval. Under contract on 34 acres in Leander, right outside of Austin. Awesome. 1 mile to Lake Travis. Great. Has a new built house with a pool and great mountain views. What other structures do you recommend? That's awesome. To your heart's content. Whatever structures that you are allowed to do there in Leander. I'm not super familiar with the county there or the zoning districts there. But it depends on the zoning district what you can do. You might have to do something on a fixed foundation. If you aren't restricted to that, you can do domes, you can do a safari tent, you can do A-frame cabins. Well, you can put that on a fixed foundation. You can do yurts if you want to. Figure out who your customer is and then build around them. It is out of any city limits in county. I'm assuming you mean in the country. Check and see what that county, what it allows you to do. Okay. Okay, looks like Logic and Deadly Laugh. Here, you're trying to get connected. There you go. All right, Vicky, hi. I really need a good mentor. I've been researching on my own, saving money now, ready to pull the trigger, but need to know the correct steps to take. That's awesome. Join the program. There's, what did I say, 2 spots left? Yeah, there's 2 spots left. If you want to jump in, you'll have, not only will you be around a bunch of other awesome people who are doing the same thing and actually going through the same process. But this is the live program where I will be able to interact with you and help you through the whole program, the blueprint. Steve, great idea. Thank you. You're welcome. Jonathan Little, what's going on? Hey, Kai, looking at buying 7 acres up here in Canada. Just wondering if you have any tips to create a romantic couples getaway right near the mountains. Dude, I have so many ideas. Treehouse with a swing between them. You can do dome homes. You can do shipping containers, A-frames. It's how the ideas are endless. It's the execution side, right, Jonathan? So the thing is that aside from the permits, the zoning that I keep on emphasizing, it's whatever idea that you can create. And if you can understand your customers, jump into the mind of your guests and your customers, and then execute on it, that's how you build it out. But like, I shouldn't say it's the easy part. The easy part is coming up with the idea. You can really make anything romantic. It's if you can basically follow through with it. So that's great though. If you found 7 acres up there, that's great. Make sure you look at the Golden Triangle and do the numbers analysis. Laura Guti, how big do you recommend a property to start a glamping project? Would like to have 3 to 5 on one property. Hill Country, Texas. I love Hill Country, Texas. We might be neighbors soon. I may or may not be looking for a second home out there. But it depends on the topography. I've said this before. It completely depends on the topography. Just keep in mind, eyesight and earshot of neighbors and road. It doesn't matter how big the property is. Just make sure. And then obviously earsight and earshot of each other. So if you can focus on that, you'll be good to go. All right, Williamson, tell me what I've been studying this area for the past 6 months. Awesome, Lior. Lior knows it. Deadly Laugh and Logic. I know you guys are trying to connect. I'm not sure why it's restricting you. I'm going to show it to you. I'm assuming that you put it on here, Micah, that I'm going to show it to everybody. So I'm going to have to blow up your email. Okay, everybody can see your email now. All right. Is it unrestricted land? Are you in Travis? Okay. Yeah. I've looked at Williams County. Pay attention to the property tax as well. Okay. All right. That's all for YouTube. I think we might start wrapping up here. I'll go through the comment section the chat window real fast here. Q&A. Noah, what's going on, Noah? What is the best email address to contact you? I have emails from several addresses from you at one of your business mentions. Kai Andrew Business is the best one. I did see your email, Noah. I haven't read it yet. I was prepping for this. Excuse me. So don't worry. I'll get back to you. Gracie, what's going on? How lenient is Texas with prefabricated homes? It depends on the county. But in most places, if you find a place that is actually even residential, it's more open to prefabricated homes now, like the modular homes. So just double check with the county, but it's not a rare thing anymore. It's actually becoming more of a norm, especially in Texas, assuming that you're not in some crazy HOA neighborhood or some small suburban or a suburb, you should be okay, but obviously always check the zoning. But typically what you're checking for is prefabricated, modular, trailer, manufactured home that can be used as a dwelling unit. That's what you're looking for in the zoning code. All right, Brent, I have 5 acres close to Big Bend National Park that is unrestricted and has no zoning. Nice. What do you think is the best thing to do with this land as it is most profitable and desirable to the customer? I'm thinking of building out a school bus. And how easy is solar to install? If I have not installed solar, that's a project that I want to take on and learn myself personally, so I can't really speak to it. I have made some good contacts that I want to reach out to. Most profitable and desirable to the customer? It depends who the customer is. I don't know. I've heard of Big Bend National Park. I'm assuming it's going to be fairly similar to the other type of customers. It's up to you. Again, it's more about the experience that you build out. It's not just, I can't just say go build a container home, because the way that you build a container home is very different than how I build a container home. Because I put a lot of, if you guys watched my last video, I put a lot of unique features in and around my container home and on top. So it's about the overall experience that you're going to build out and how much money you have and the vision that you have for it. We can dive a lot deeper into that. I obviously dive a lot deeper into that into the live art of design program, mini program. But that would take me probably an hour plus to kind of walk you through that. Sorry, not a super fast answer. All right, what do you prefer, freelance professionals or local SMBs, small business? What is that? What's SMB? Small managed businesses for cleaners? I don't know what SMB is. Tell me what SMB is.
Evan Sekulek.
Whoops, sorry. Freelance. I like small businesses. I'm assuming that's freelance professionals. I do not work with large companies, large outfits. I hate them. I should say I hate them. I very, very much dislike them. Do you set up your own marketing funnels to attract customers, or do you rely on platforms like Airbnb? We used to do both for our city ones. Getting rid of the city, focusing on the outside of the city. And we will be restarting and redoing that. And absolutely, you want to do your own marketing funnel because you do not ever want to rely, which we are right now, which is not making me super comfortable, 80 to 90% on Airbnb. There's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration. But yes, to answer your question, we are going to be doing our own marketing. Okay. Let's go over the chat window real fast. Hey, Clara Lara. All right, so... Lindy. Hi, Lindy Johnson. Thank you. All right. Kai, on average, how much do utilities cost? Oh, nope. We already answered that. Land zoning for a tiny home. What should I look for? Would a campground mobile home zoning be ideal? Ben, yes, it would be. Let's say I find a 100-acre property. What's the first step? Already answered that. No, there's a little better, but the sound is what's important here anyways. We're not here for your pretty face. Okay. William Bob, I make tiny house kits. Here's a link to a large unit on Airbnb. Very cool, Bob. William. Gracie. Okay, we already answered that, Gracie. Isn't the key difference in location being one has utilities, roads already in place? Yes. A big thing, Gracie, is having utilities and roads. Depending on your budget, utilities and a road is always going to make things easier and less expensive if you can buy a piece of property that has utilities or roads. But typically when you do vacant land, raw land, you're not going to have that. All right. Ooh, who just took this? Is that you, Chris? Okay, Christopher Ford just got in. We have one seat left. So anybody, I'm going to start wrapping this up here. So there's one seat left. Sorry, Logic here. I'm going to let you show the message. There you go. One seat left for anybody who wants to join the program tonight. It's the last seat with the last discount and the very last one-on-one session with me. Anybody who's still in here or who's just trickled in, I've been attaching one-on-one sessions with me. They're for 60 minutes, 45 minutes, and we're now down to 25 minutes. And it's just because we have so many students and so many individuals. I want to work with you all. I literally just don't have the bandwidth between my projects, YouTube channel, and then obviously running and hosting not the webinars, but the program itself. So I had to limit the number of one-on-one times that I can give out. So there's one left. There will not be any more. I think. I'm trying to think this through. If I can maybe squeeze it in. But right now I can't for in September. So I might give away group coaching, but there will no longer be any type of monetary or financial discounts. It's still a killer deal for less than $2,500. You are learning a ton. And I will reiterate again, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee, okay? If the first 4 weeks of the class starts and you're just like, what am I doing here? This sucks. I'm not learning anything from Kai. Just let me know. I might ask you why, and I will give you your money back. I believe in what I'm teaching you. And I said this again, or I said this before. This is what I would teach myself when I first graduated college or even high school. And it is exactly what I'm doing right now as you guys watch my YouTube channel, the 267 acres. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and this is how I'm doing it. I just can't show it to you through YouTube. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go back over to YouTube. Christian Gonzalez, shoot me a message. So everybody out there right now who's asking about a payment plan, here's the thing, and I should have said this in the very beginning. I'm sorry I didn't. There's still a good number of you in here who, if you haven't signed up yet, you should hear this. Is that I don't have a payment plan. And my initial thought, and I think I might be turning around on this a little bit if you guys keep asking me. And Christian, send me a message later, and I might be able to set you up with something. But I don't offer a payment plan because my initial thought is that if you can't afford, or you're not in a financial situation, and we've all been in that spot, right? To afford a $2,500 program, you probably are not in the spot to start land hacking and potentially even lease hacking. Because remember, even if I give you a piece of property for free, you still have to build it out, or you have to buy materials to do stuff. And so that's the way that I think about it. But the more that I thought about it and I talked to a couple of students, this isn't just about starting lease hacking or land hacking immediately or getting into real estate immediately. It's about building the knowledge and education behind it, the knowledge and the skill sets, right? And so it's a little bit foolish of me to say that. But at the same time, if somebody is really hungry to learn the concepts, I should be able to provide them with a way to pay it over time. So that is one thing that I've been thinking about. I'm still kind of toying with it. But I do have a small list of individuals who've reached out to me about payment plan. I'm not sure I'm going to still do it yet because I've already launched this. If I do decide to do it, I will email you, the folks who do want to be on the payment plan. But right now, I don't think I'm going to do it. So just to give you a heads up. Clara Lara, how much money I have to account for solar, well, sewer, related permits, as there is no access to it? Ooh, I don't know the property, so it totally depends on the type of topography. It depends on the ground that you have, the soil, how rocky it is, how far away the electrical transformer is, all that stuff, right? So I say all of your utilities, low is going to be like 20,000. High for all of that, including solar, 100,000 plus. And so I'd say, like, realistically, when you're budgeting, I'd budget between 50 to 75,000 for all of that, especially if you have no access to any of it. Fernando, what's going on? Hello from Brazil. Do you think the pillars of a great rental short-term glamping works in all word? Near cities, sorry, my Spanish isn't, or Portuguese. I think you speak Portuguese, right? Parks. It does. It's just I don't know the customer base down there. I know that I have a friend that I went to school with who has a cousin who started a glamping site in Central America around Guatemala and is doing very, very well. And so I'm not familiar with Brazil. I'm not familiar with the customers down there or the travel or anything like that. So it could. It absolutely could. If it has a high traffic and there's a need that needs to be met, then yeah, I think that could do really well. Dylan, I love your channel. As long as you keep making informative content, I will watch it. Well, Dylan, I love you, and I will definitely do my best to keep on giving you informative content. All right, last couple here, and then I'm going to go get some food because my tummy is rumbling. All right, Laura, if I'm a pure beginner, would the program be over my head? How many people are you taking? What discount are you given? I just happen to see you live. Laura, absolutely. If you are a beginner, I've said this before, it's about your mindset coming into things. Is that we as humans, anybody who's inside this room right now, the 100 of you, right? I think there's about 80 of you now. Anybody who's in here is an entrepreneur at heart, has the entrepreneurial spirit and wants to learn. The only thing that separates us from a lot of other folks is willing to go through the challenge or the difficulties of learning. And so if you're a beginner, 100% this program is set up to give you the ability to start to know where to learn or how to learn. And the ability to go back and rewatch it, work with your classmates, work with me, go to group coaching, listen to other experts. It's the best place to build a basic foundation to learn more and then to build off of it and then ultimately to build your own experiences and execute on what I can teach you. So with that all said, the discounts as of today, because the other discounts have been taken up, there is literally one spot. I'm not just saying that there's 4 people inside this chat window right now that already purchased the other 4 seats. There's one seat left where you do get a 25-minute strategy consultation with me after the program. So once we wrap everything up, you and I will get to sit down. We get to go over your plans, your strategy, or what you want to work to, whether it's tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but you know what I'm saying, or it's a year from now, and how to get you there, whether you're a financial space, your job, your moving situation, or your living situation, whatever it may be. That's what that strategy session is meant to be. So, yeah. But again, I'm going to be totally biased. And I wish I've done this before, so I had more testimonials with the program. But Laura, like I said before, if you haven't heard it, 30-day money-back guarantee. So that's all I have to say, and I stand behind that. All right, Sheila, the payment plan would also help us build our network for when we can pull the trigger, just saying. I see what you're doing. You're right, Sheila. You're absolutely right. I'll let you know. You're on my short list. All right, Ryan Cummings. What's up, man? Good to see you in here. Did you just jump in? All right, I'm just going to jump back over to Zoom one last time. I'm addicted to answering your guys' questions. This is why it's so hard for me to go. Okay. Sure wish that yeah. Okay, what kind of marketing funnels do you use? There's a couple different ones out there. I honestly like to set up my own. Okay, we won't get too deep into this, Sheila, but you have Instagram is probably your hands down the best. I also have the privilege of having a good following on YouTube, and so I can market through there. And then you funnel everybody to your website. And between your website and how well you do SEOs, and you set up, well, you can pay people, again, off of Fiverr, Upwork, and Freelancer to set up your site so it has, what's it called? Good SEOs. There's another terminology for it that I forget. I'm not an expert in it, obviously. But that way is how you get people. And so eventually you start driving more people to your site from people naturally searching or finding you on Instagram. And if you create a site that is cheaper than Airbnb and it's an easier way for them to book, a lot of people will go through there too. So you can start splitting up where your customer base is coming from. Brent, why do you think Joshua Tree is a bubble that is going to burst? I know Rob is working with investors to develop 20, 24 more properties up there. Because of exactly what you just said, Brent. If I know Rob's doing it, and then I know that there is a ton of other money out there. And I personally, I don't know if it's going to burst. I can't say it's going to burst, but I can tell you that I have been around in this industry long enough where any areas where you say Lake Tahoe, you can say here in Oregon, there's a place called Bend. You start doing that enough, you can make equity in the building the homes. But the vacations you do in any market, you start creating a lot of competitors. And then it comes with competitors, comes a lot of regulations. I don't like that. I don't want to go to a place that has a ton of competitors. And then now I have to raise my hands like, hey, you got to remember that area only has X number of builders, X number of framers, X number of well diggers, or X septic system, plumbers, all this stuff. And so if you're in a hot spot and you need a framer to frame something, but they're all building these other 1,000 houses, literally 1,000 homes, what are you going to do? Like, I don't want to deal with that. I can easily make more money or just as much money, go into a space that has way less competition with less regulations, right? So that's my thought process behind it. So definitely you can go in there. You can probably still make good money. It's just that it's not an environment that I like to be in. So it's not just about making money. It's the environment that you want to be. And then to be completely honest, I haven't been down there yet, but looking through the properties of Joshua Tree, I don't find it super attractive. Again, you guys are probably going to roast me on that. But flat desert land is not super attractive to me where I can see power lines and then I can see cars driving by. I could have 40 acres and I'll see a bunch of houses on flat desert land with no trees, right? It's not my cup of tea. With that said, people are making money and there's a lot of people going out there. All right. What's the best way to go about finding builders? Do you have all the plans permitted and ready to go before the ground breaks? Yeah, you do. You usually are talking to your builder, going through the process. So you do the plans, you do the engineering, and then you go find the builder. And then once you get a builder, you go through the permitting process, you have them under contract, and then they break ground once you get approved. All right. So, okay, last couple of questions here. Today's Tech. No! Don't worry, I'll be on tomorrow. Sorry, Today's Tech. This is just a live thing. I know. It's just a live thing. I will be posting videos in the future on these same exact subjects, so don't worry. But yeah, jump on tomorrow, 5:30 Pacific time. Ryan, any Airbnb location ideas for mid-Atlantic area? I was thinking Gettysburg. It's a good spot. There's a lot of great places. North Carolina, South Carolina. I like, what else is over there? I don't like anything too north of North Carolina. But yeah, those are good spots over there. I can't even think of my geography. I'm trying to think in my head of any other places in the mid-Atlantic. What's there besides North Carolina and South Carolina? Is it Florida? Florida touches South Carolina? I don't know. My geography is horrible. I was born on the West Coast. All right, Christian, love your help, brother. Good job. Oh, you live in Chicago? I like Chicago. I'm afraid around here this won't work because of the snow season. What do you think? You know what? That's a great place to, when everybody else, let me put it this way. When everybody else is afraid of something or they don't do something because of XYZ, like a snow season, but there's still a good number of people coming into the area, there's a good opportunity there, right? If you're the only place open or the only place that caters to individuals that are coming in the middle of snow season. Just to give you an idea, there are glamp sites, or sorry, not glamp sites, there are dome homes or dome tents that are set up in Switzerland in areas that have very, very heavy snow. And the attraction of it is that it is in an area with a lot of snow. And you have a very cool view of looking over a lake or over the mountain view in the case of Switzerland. It's either Switzerland or Sweden. I think it's actually Sweden. And yeah, you can create a very unique space. You just have to make sure that the numbers make sense during that time. And it's not like everybody stops flying there. All right. What are your favorite places in California for glamping? A-frames, Gamer Voice, Northern California, Mariposa County. You can really do it anywhere, but Mariposa County. Okay, but with that, I think there's still one spot left. So I'm going to end it with that. So anybody who wants to take it, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm very accessible through email or my YouTube. I actually don't do YouTube channel because I'm so busy with the emails right now. So reach out to me via email, kaiandrewbusiness@gmail.com. If you have questions about the program or you have questions about just anything in general, shoot me a message. I might not be able to get back to you right away because I am focusing on the enrollment period right now for the next couple days. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys in there. Otherwise, I'll see everybody tomorrow at 5:30 Pacific time. Come in. I'm going to be talking about rentals, starting off small or going big. I'll see you guys all there. Other than that, I love you guys all, and I'll see you very, very soon. Peace out.